Hey Maggie, how you doing? Thank you for kicking things off here. Let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, really good job. Great start. Fantastic. There's a couple of things I would like to bring to your attention. One of them has to do with requirements, and the other has to do with the actual mechanics of your typeface as it stands. So the first things first. There's this little thing right here. Identify the common components and characteristics that were duplicated when rendering the title digitally. This information can be submitted in the form of sticky note notations. And one thing that you've done here is you've identified different anatomical parts of the letters and different terminology associated with different parts of the letters. But what that's is asking is to take different portions of the letter form and try to determine what can be duplicated in different areas. Okay, for example, a really good example of this would be this left side of where this C is, and how that can be duplicated for the left side of the E. So that stroke right there. Conversely, if there's any other diagonals or anything that can be duplicated, like with that N right there, that diagonal of the N, and just to go through and just really determine what areas can be duplicated. And that's the way you build the typeface. Basically, is you start building letter forms, and then what you do is, I mean, you start with a few different examples of letter forms. You design those, and then you take what you've already designed, and you can use that in different letter forms. Do you see what I'm saying? So, for example, this C right here may need to be redesigned because theoretically you could take this whole portion of the C and duplicate it and use it for the E, but you would have to change this a little bit because this is really too thick up here for the E. Do you see what I'm saying? So these would share characteristics. However, they would be identical, and they would have to be identical, meaning that when you design them, they should be designed for optimal placement in the two different letter forms. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So that's the first thing, is just go through here and determine what parts can be, for example, the descender can be duplicated for descenders for other letter forms, any descender really. The curved bowls and open counters can be, duplicated. The diagonals and the crossbars and the arms and the shoulders can all be duplicated for different portions of the letter forms. Okay, and that I think is really important. All right, taking a look at the letter form itself. So this is great because you've got your descender line, your base line, your X line, and your cap height and your ascender line all established. That's fantastic. One thing I'm not seeing, though, is there's a couple of inconsistencies based on the actual mechanics of the letter form. So we can see that with the P and with the lowercase I. And the reason that is because the P is not reaching the baseline. So typically the P would be, the P is actually, it's reaching the X line, but it doesn't seem to be reaching the baseline. At any rate, it doesn't seem to be reaching the baseline like that closed counter typically would in a typeface. We see that right over here in this anatomical illustration of letter forms. So if you take a look at that P right there, you see how it rests on the baseline? That closed bowl of the P rests on the baseline, and it also comes up to the mean line. So right now we don't see it. We see the mean line, but this doesn't come down to the baseline. It's cut short. That's why it looks so much smaller than the other letter forms. These three letters here I think are problematic, the P, the T, and the I. The I, because the I doesn't reach the mean line, right? And typically the I would reach the mean line and that tittle would fall above. The tittle is the dot, would fall above the mean line. Conversely, we see the T, see right there, the I is about the mean line, the tittle falls above. Then you have that, this T, which kind of looks like it's mechanically, it's constructed as a capital T. The reason I say that is because it kind of, the crossbar is right there above the mean line, and typically a T would have an ascender, a little ascender associated with a lowercase letter. Do you see what I'm saying? So you may want to redesign that. And one of the things you're going to confront as an issue is with the height of this eye, when you bring this eye up to the mean line where it should be, that tittle is going to interfere with that crossbar of the T in its inception. So that's something you want to be specifically aware of. Okay, so those are my comments. If you have any questions or comments at all, please let me know. I'll be glad to clarify. Thank you very much.